see me. I think Willy Wonka doesn't want you to. So I'll wait for a few more people. It says one person liked the video, but it doesn't show anyone in here. Peace, peace, peace. So I'll wait until everyone checks in. Hey, Cosmic. Check on in. Wow, Cosmic, I think you're the only one here. I had to make this emergency message, so I'll wait until a few more people check in. Peace. I'm a trans frog again. Ribbit. So, if you didn't know, I'm back to my froggy ways. Check on in. Now, I already know that it most likely will be blocked, so anticipate that only a few people will see this. Hey, Rez. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Jay Wayne. Check on in. This is an emergency broadcast. Ribbit. Check on in. I have clothes on, so you know I'm serious. Okay? And you can see my lovely background, right? That's the city in the background. Check on in. Hey, Jose. Long time no see. So I'll wait until a few of you check in. When we get to 500, it's an emergency broadcast. Ribbit, I am a trans frog, so if you have any problems with green or with any sort of amphibian, I'm just not the broadcast for you today. Hello, Sister Sagitt. Oh, hey, Antonio. Melissa. Hola. Hey, Joseph. Hey, Charles. This is an emergency broadcast, and I don't know how long they'll let it stay up. So I figured I'd do it tonight. You guys summoned me. I mean, I've been getting so many emails telling me, where are you? Why aren't you coming on? We're scared. Don't be scared. I know, Jose. Check on it. So I'll wait until we get to 500, okay? So as you see, I am not in your neck of the woods probably anymore. I've left the country again. I am in South America, that's why. It's winter here, and I'm actually clothed. Normally I don't wear clothes, y'all. So while you guys are a little hot, I'm a little cold. You thought of me yesterday, Rosary? Rosero? Oh, I miss you too, Bridget. You guys, I mean, I got a call yesterday asking where was I, why am I not coming on live, what's going on, and I didn't want to scare you, so I figured I had a little bit more time. Ribbit. John Quan is like, ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. So like I said, look at this amazing backdrop. I'm never in a city. You like my outfit? It's kind of, my daughters don't. One of my daughters doesn't like this shirt, but this is age appropriate for me. Hey, AJ. Aw. Hey, Yatif. So wait until we get to 500. How's everybody doing? We're going to talk about the Zeros and their dastardly diabolical plot. I'm going to really make an emergency message for you guys. I know you've conjured me out of my solitude. Usually Zombies see me every week, but you guys have been requesting for me. So check on in. Yeah, you may need headphones. Remember, Jasmine, you know, sometimes Flurburn, I always pay attention to the little people, but you know, sometimes I may slip. I am an amphibian. I really can't watch where I hop. So headphones would be safe if you have little people because I want to keep them safe, okay? I'm doing well, Kate. Quoi de neuf? Okay. Bonjour, bonjour. Ça va? Ça va très bien, everyone? How about that? Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Konnichiwa. Jambo. Okay. Can't help where you hop. Listen, I'm an amphibian. I can't be strung in. Hey, Renata. Hello, my love. Renata's over in Brazil. She is over in Rio de Janeiro. It's not as cold here, though. Ça va, merci, merci, merci. Je suis tard. Okay, so I'll wait until we get to 500 and then I'll start. Once I start, you know I go on a rampage. I don't have something to hold up my phone, so I hope you forgive me. My hair is not really messy. I just have my hat on because it is cold outside and we came from outside not too far long ago. So I got my feet kicked up. I got the city landscaping on the back that I actually love. And then we're gonna get into it. And this is a little bit of a very piloted conversation. So like I said, when our CSAR said, should she put headphones on? I always say, for the protection of your children, I am a frog, a trans frog. Sometimes I don't know what I'll talk about or do. I may ribbit every once in a while. That might be offensive to your family dynamics. If that is something you can't handle, then this may not be the podcast for you. And I have to hold up my phone because I don't have my, you know, my little gadget thing. You know, sometimes I'm really slow on the technology. So I'll wait until we get to 500. Thank those for conjuring me out of my dormant state. So for those who conjured me out, say thank you. Where you been? I've been fine. I've just been around, so I haven't, you know, but I am out of the country now. So I'm back in South America in the winter wonderland, and I'm in a new location that will only be disclosed to those who are on my Zoom. Because there's so many diabolical haters, especially those Deros. So, you know, I will be giving a log, a Frogger log. I'll be videotaping my journey in South America to several countries. And if you want to see, this is really a scouting trip to see best places for those of you who would like to leave the diabolical, because I'm going to put the forewarning out for you that your Willy Wonka system is gunning for you. And they're not only gunning for you, they are setting every last one of you up for either a concentration camp or for extermination. So we're going to get into it. This is not something for the, remember, you conjure me up. So I only come to you when I'm sweet and kind and funny and wonderful. But when you conjure me up and I got that fire in my belly, I'm going to give it to you. And I don't know that I can give you a chaser today. So if you don't mind, then by all means, once we get to 500, I will start. I hope everybody's well. And you know, I don't really hold my tongue. Maybe as a frog. Maybe that's like a quality of being an amphibian. I had to turn my internet back on to listen. Oh, thank you, Joseph. Thank you. Merci, Joseph. You feel sick when I listen. The dirty electricity is off the chain. I want to give a shout out to Renetta. I'm going to shout out to my homie over outside of Russia, next to Jordan. Hugo Victor. So I want to give a shout out to them. They getting it in, and they're really getting not even shadow banned, just banned. It's not even shadow banned, is like being kind and sweet when your government is like, oh, we don't like what you're saying, but we don't want to be so overt. Being banned is like, motherfreakers, shut up. I'm sorry I'm talking like this. I burned my mouth eating something hot today, so I talk a little weird. So check on in. We're almost at 500 when I start off. Listen, so I hope everybody's well. I hope you're doing okay. I hope everyone is really, being able to deal with the craziness that's going on in the world, the constant chaos, the fake news. Or rather, it's not fake news. It's orchestrated news. It's socially engineering news. It's MK Ultra news. Okay, and I know that your pooping president has been pooping in people's faces. And let me say, I apologize. I apologize for all of the military. Unfortunately, that was a subject of a violation by your pseudo artificial pooping president. I'm so sorry. Listen, flatulation and all those other things. I mean, I just, I feel like if he's unable to control his derriere from the vril up his butt, then I really feel like we might have already lost. Let me behave myself. So check on in. Apparently, you had the new Cucarachi stand, but you still kick. Good, AJ. Listen, it's I can't say anything, but what I'll say is it is metallic. It isn't biological. It is AI metallic, nanoparticulates. That's what makes it a little different. You know what I mean? No medical, I am not a doctor. I am not a nurse. Sometimes I'm a referee. Sometimes I can be a counselor. Sometimes it could be a little saucy too. Okay, we're almost at 500. Check on in. Oh, you appreciate me being a trans frog? I didn't think you guys would accept me for my new status. You know, sometimes I come on real froggy. So I thought I'd come on and just reveal myself immediately. So, you know, if you feel like you aren't able to accept my trans status, then, you know, I just give you the forewarning so you can step out of the room and just say, no, I can't deal with that today. Okay? Pooping puppet. I like that, Teresa. I think you're absolutely correct. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, Rihanna, you know I heard about it. The ringworm of mass destruction. And remember what the real is, everyone. Can we wait until I get to 500? Because when I start, I'm going in. And then tonight on Zoom, you guys will get the location where I'm at. I know my Zombies. Some of them knew I was traveling. So again, if you guys want to join me, you got frogs. I love that. If you guys want to join me tonight on Zoom, you can. And I will be doing my travel blog for my scouting, for my Zombies and others who want to travel as moms. If you want to travel as moms with children, because I travel a little differently than most, you know, a lot of males who travel solo, it's a little different for them. But I'm a woman, and I'm a woman of color. Well, I'm a melanated frog, so I'm green. So, you know, I have issues anyway. And then also, usually I travel sometimes with pets. So if you, in fact, wanted to learn and see the different safe zones to go to some of the same locations or some different locations that normally you won't see other bloggers do from the perspective I give, by all means, you join me. And I will have the, you know, the different places and videos, vlogging of the different places I go in South America, the different countries, and that way you can get a better perspective. And those are for those who are thinking of traveling to South America. If you're not, it's not a big deal. But for those who are, especially mommies or women, women of color, women who are solo or single, this gives you a really different perspective. Because again, ribbit, 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 ribbit. We're almost at 500. So you can go on through my Patreon if you want. That's only if you want. Don't join if you don't want to. That's only for those who want to come on either Zoom or the Patreon. You got to go through Patreon to be on it. But I'll be doing my traveling vlog there only because they've been harassing people who are showing, telling people. I think I'm one of the only people telling, oh, we're gone. We're at 500. Let's go. I'm one of the only people telling you to leave the United States. I told you already. Emergency. Emergency. Okay. Let's get it in. Peace to the east, west, north, south. This is Fleur Boone coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. So this is emergency ribbit. Froggy telecast, okay? And definitely this is something I don't think is friendly for children or people who are really paranoid already, or people who are just really just get sketchy when they hear information that might trigger them to be afraid. Okay, this is only for those who want to be purple pill. This is a purple pill televisation. Ribbit. This is only for those who don't mind being purple pilled. I always give you the preamps because some people say I fear bait you. So if you're fearful already, this definitely shouldn't be something you listen to. So I give you the forewarning. You come in here at your own accord. Okay, let's get it in. So as many of you know, the world is collapsing. The world that you knew previously. Your Willy Wonka systems are literally destroying everything that you knew and felt safe. A lot of your foods are contaminated with all kinds of different things that they've been adding. And I don't say it's just now. They've been doing this over the last few years. And unfortunately, your Willy Wonka governmental systems are setting up the populace for demolition. The United States is done. The United States is done, y'all. Again, this broadcast was, you should thank some of your other YouTube people that came in here, subscribers that conjured me out of the blue, because normally I do Zoom tonight and I still will do Zoom, but they wanted me to come out and talk about what's going on. And again, I don't feel it's right to know certain things and not really give you information. I go on other people's channels a lot of times now, because as you see, YouTube really loves me. And they've been giving me such a wonderful time lately. So I've just kind of like recoiled a little bit, but I'm out, I'm back. You're going to get purple pills, so let's get it in. So right now, we are close to the election time. As you saw, they have 34 charges against the orange president, while the other one's pooping on his own constituents. Okay, so you got one, you know how they said the orange is a new black? Or the new black is orange? Whoops, that. I think it's one of the same, but as you see, many of the things that you normally used to take for granted are now changing. And also, normally during a political year, you see a lot of campaigning, you get a lot of phone calls, but if you notice, none of that is happening right now. Right now, you're noticing that there hasn't been any of the regular, you know, the normal broadcasting or campaigning or anything that you normally see. You aren't seeing that on any of your news sources or so on. You just hear people bashing everyone, Biden this, Trump this, and so on. It's a lot of propaganda, and it's meant to really confuse you and also to force you in one direction or another. As you know, we have so many other choices when it comes to voting, and you know, voting is really not what you think it is. I personally know it is a selection. They always know who they're putting into power, in position. They play like, you know, paddle board with you, ping pong board. They basically ping you back and forth, putting you in one direction or another, pitting you with localized fear tactics, demonization of one side as opposed to the other. Remember, y'all, if you've been with me for the longest time, you know that the right is the left and the left is the right. There isn't any differential other than what they portray to you as a different system. Republican is the same as Democrat. The difference is that they're swinging it so far to one side, like a pendulum, and you know what happens when you swing to one side too hard? You're going to get a fast swing to the other side. You know that each side is the same. Their children all sleep with each other. They all hang out in the Swiss Alps. There is no country that is under independence, or if it is, it's being attacked. Okay? So if you see places like, they all have an agreement. These are all, first of all, let me say, these are the real nations. The worm, the ringworm, the worm that they said goes in the eye, no, it goes up the derriere. Okay, this is, I'm not a scientist, I'm a mentally ill patient. Do know that this isn't medical advice. I'm a comedian, this is a skit. Okay, because I'm a trans frog, and you know us frogs have no medical background. Okay, so all this talk about, we talked about the Vril. And you know the Vril Society was, they used to speak about that little worm that went in the eye, but then they would call it a reptilian. Well, I've surmised that it is very much a worm, but it is not going in your eye, it is going in your butt. And this is why they promote very unsavory, very non-kosher sexual acts to allow for this worm to be able to get into someone's body and to take over the entirety of that body. Now, we talked about the zombie snail and the zombie ant, remember? And we talked about even the zombie, they're talking about the zombie deer. You do know that why they're called zombies, because they're taken over by what? Parasites, some type of parasitic being. But most of you think that parasites are biological. What if I told you that some of the parasites can be nanoparticulates, acting as if they're biological, having a programmed directive to hijack the entire body by getting in the body and changing the wiring, changing the thinking. So that is why they're promoting a certain kind of disposition right now, because it is easier for the Vril to get inside of you if you're acting in a very unusual sexual manner. Okay? I want to keep it clean as much as I can, because we do have little people on here. And mommies, I said, mamas, abuelas, daddies, big brothers, big sisters, just put the headphones on so that I'm not putting this in, you know, in their minds, because this is something I feel is very important. So why is this important? Because we're at a time where you are getting the most rocked to sleep. Why is because many people aren't feeling well due to a lot of things that could be in your food or not in your food. It's not in your food. It's not in your chicken. It's not in your beef. No, they're not putting stuff in those. They're not putting it in your vegetables. They're not leaching it into your soil by the sky called chemtrails. No, they're not doing that. They're not putting things inside of you that you have taken, you've given consent to. Of course not. Please don't listen to crazy people telling you that these things are bad for you, that they're putting inside of you and putting inside your arm. These people are mentally ill. They could not be more wrong. Okay? Just know that everything that Willy Wonka is promoting to you is absolutely holistic and wonderful, including the nanoparticulates that are being sprayed all over the sky and what used to be called the, you know, Mogellans. And remember, I am a comedian. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. But all I'm saying is that between the Vril up your butt and the metal particulates that are coming down from the sky, crawling in people's skin, that, you know, really when you say to yourself, when they said there was going to be an alien invasion, well, God darn it. If you didn't know any better, the alien invasion has been oncoming since before 2020. Okay? And this is a broadcast telling you completely that your Willy Wonka, the Vril, and the what are they called? The Deros. The Deros are the big elephant nose creatures that are subterranean and they're unnatural. If you want to go and watch the show Dark Crystal, you will get a better idea of what the Deros are, the Skeksis. So when I talk about the Deros, I'm really talking about the Skeksis, but the Mystics are the same. They make it seem different, but if you look at the characteristics of the Skeksis and the Mystics, they both have a very physical look to them that is very likened to the Deros. And if you watch the Dark Crystal, if you actually watch the series, and I know that you guys think it's corny, I know that you think it's like Jim Henson, but that was like the simulation warning to you. These beings aren't from here. They see you as a food source. They are utilizing everyone as a food source. Organs being harvested, you know, now they're talking about, you know, the bus drivers are contracted for the children's buses. Some of the people, teachers working at school who are contracted, nurses are contracted. There are people being contracted specifically to be able to traffic and harvest children. So when you think of a bus driver, oh, they're just a bus driver, they just need the job. What if I told you that there's a news article talking about the child traffickers are all in the school districts and hired? And then when your child goes on a school bus, if your child looks appealing, if their skin has really nice melanation, boa noite. If your child looks appealing to an adult, they auction them off and they videotape them. This is according to the news. This isn't my information. They record them on a school bus and they basically sell them to perverts and pedophiles online. Do you understand what time this is? And listen, y'all, this is a global issue, but this is the concentration of perverts is in the United States. Most of your drugs, your trafficking, and if you live next door to Deros for some reason like to live next to melanated communities. Let me talk to the melanated community. I told you this is going to be a broadcast that will gaslight you all day. If you are not prepared for the purple pilling I'm about to give you, please check out, because I'm about to say some things that's going to put some fire underneath your butt and you're going to have to make some decisions with your family. And I don't come to you. I'm out of the country. I'm in South America. I'm in a beautiful place. It is winter time here. So as you see, I'm fully clothed. But I'm coming with you with the real. You conjured me out of my dormant sleep with the zombies, and you go and get it all today, okay? And I'm going to give it to you real. Because I haven't been contracted by a governmental Willy Wonka system. I haven't been contracted by the Cats in Array. I've been contracted by the other alphabet people, Okay, I'm not getting paid by other Willy Wonka dark ops, because the ops are everywhere and they're in every group, they're in every place. They watch you, they watch us, they watch our channels, they make sure that anyone who's telling you what I'm saying now is not able to do so, because they shadow ban you. And it's not even shadow banning, they basically stop you from speaking. Okay, so I'm giving it to you 1000%. And this isn't like Jaguar. Please don't compare me to Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright is a snitching, loathing, underdog that is bitter. She is just giving you information because she's mad that she didn't make it in the musical industry. I don't trust people who have other people give them secrets and tell them private things and then tell everybody out. I don't care if they're celebrities. She was in that world. She was good so long as she didn't get kicked out and it was a failure in her occupation. But now that she's out, she's just throwing everyone a bus. Don't ever trust anyone. I don't care if they say they're doing good. If she was doing good, she would have told everybody what was going down at the time it was going down. You don't wait this long to disclose information after the deeds and the dirt and the crimes have been done. People who really care about people talk about it at the time. If you see someone getting raped, if you see Aaliyah getting raped by an adult, R. Kelly, you don't wait 20 years after the girl's dead to say something about it. You say it then. That's why you don't trust people like that. All these celebrity whistleblowers, they are just bitter Bettys. They didn't make it in the industry. The only reason they're telling about now is because they can't make any money. So what they do is just use all the information that they were told and use it now. You shouldn't trust her. She is just an opportunist loser who uses the internet as a way to vent out all of the secrets that she was so comfortable taking in and keeping to herself until it was right time to disclose it. Anyway, no shade but shade. Okay, you shouldn't trust people like that. Anybody who has a friend, listen, you're my friend and you disclose information to me and when we were friends, and let's say we're not friends anymore, I'm telling you, I wouldn't tell your secrets. That's somebody who is like a snake in the grass. And I shouldn't even disrespect serpents in that way. Okay, she's a snake in the grass. People who constantly take in your information, don't tell people your personal information, because if they throw in you can see by their behavior, if they have other friends that they disclose their personal information after they fall out, that's not somebody you want to tell your secrets to. Because when you fall out with them, they'll tell your secrets. Okay? Anyway, so let's get back to the vril up the butt. Ribbit. Big up to everybody. Please put a like in the video, the handy dandy video, if you think this should stay up and this is information that you like to hear. Thank the other YouTube followers that came in and conjured me out of my sleep, in my dormant froggy amphibian sleep. I am in another country. It is winter time, so you see me with clothes which you rarely see me with. So appreciate that the girls are not out today and I'm nice and warm. Okay, so let's get into it. So we're talking about the Willy Wonka system that's setting you up. Everything is infiltrated from above and below. Now, when I give this information, and like I said, if you want, for all the mommies, I always say for the mommies, abuelas, aunties, anyone who's thinking of leaving, because I'm going to tell you that I suggest that everyone leaves the country, especially women and children. Listen to me. I've never said it this raw to you. And, oh, I'm having deja vu. I've never been this raw with you before. I've never told you completely that you should leave. Every woman and child, you should leave the country. I'm letting you know, I haven't ever said this, you need to leave. And right now I'm doing a series and it's only for you guys, because I know what it's like to leave with your children and feel like you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do. So I'm doing a series of traveling through South America as a woman of color with children. And if you come to my Patreon, you will see me vlog every day, places that I go, safe zones, so that you get to see how beautiful it is in other places, how you'll be received. I know a lot of women of color are very hesitant because we get treated very differently in a lot of places. So this time, you know, you see I'm a melanated woman, I have melanated children, and when I travel, you get a chance to vlog, you get a chance to ask me personal questions. I'll answer all your questions. If you need advice on relocation and doing stuff, you can do so. So you can come to my Patreon and do that. I'm only doing it there, and normally I do it here, but Willy Wonka is coming so hard for anyone who's trying to promote this that I have a family. So that's why you don't hear me very often, but I promised some of my Zumbies I would do it for them. And if you come to the channel and you support me that way, I will definitely do it for you. And this way you can ask me and say, hey, how do they treat the children? You can see the places that I go. You can see, like, are they food friendly? You know, I always go places with blood type friendly places. So right now I'm in a country, which you get to find out later if you sign up with me. I'm in a country that is O positive mostly. So big up to all the O positives in the room. Let me give a shout out to y'all. I'm in a country that is solely, mostly 73% or 76% O positive. It's cold right now. It's wintertime in South America, and you will know that tonight. I'll be on with Zoom. The Zoomies will find out, but you guys get to find it. So at least you'll see places that I go. I'm going to go to a couple countries, countries that most people, well, at least, you know, it's not necessarily somewhere that people like moms and so on would go. So you get to see me travel and ask me questions and see if things would be fine. So what I will suggest, and I'm telling you, I haven't ever warned you this, for all the moms, abuelas, aunties, women, and children, men, if you want to stay, you stay. If you don't want to go, I always say women are the ones who are most vulnerable. If you see every war that is out here, the number one person being trafficked are children and women. My number one goal is to make sure that women, children are safe. The country is out of control. The United States is not the only country. United States is not the other country. Europe is going through actually similar, if not worse, the UK. Okay? So I'm just saying, and also, oh, you're thinking my complexion. Let me just say, if you like my complexion, you like everything, being outside of the United States has healed my body almost completely. A lot of times, I think many of you understand or understand that the food and the air is so toxic that my entire body was really suffering. I am an O positive, and I told you, I personally think that they are attacking O positives through the food. It is my opinion that all of the food is literally designated and poisoned for O positives specifically, because we are the warrior group. We are the group that usually fights against the opposite equal end, and because of that, it is really, really hard for some of us to survive. You know, I was bloating in the United States. I would have one meal, I would bloat up like a Daros. Ribbit, like a frog, like a frog. Okay, and if you want to ask me questions on Patreon, also on Zoom, you can ask me personal questions about someone. So I've decided to leave the country, and I suggest everyone, this is a time, and I've made it a point, and this series is only for you. And I'm not going to do it on YouTube because they attack me so vehemently. But for the Zombies, they get it anyway. But if you come on Patreon, you will see where to go, what I suggest. And it's just suggestions. And as a mom. So for those who are mommy and are thinking about leaving and a little concerned about going anywhere, by all means, you can ask me any question there. But I am, and you don't have to come to me. But I'm telling you right now, you need to leave the country. Your country is dastardly. And also, I'll also tell you what countries are taking the global passport and others that are not. So just know that is the case. I'll be on Zoom tonight, so the Zombies will be the first to find out where I am in the world in South America. But it is my suggestion, and no one's going to tell you this. A lot of you YouTubers are sold out. They're getting checks from Willy Wonka and the League of Doom. They are basically trying to set you here. And if you listen to what happened in Mexico with the Daros herself, who was elected, listen, y'all, I haven't seen that many assassinations. They're not telling you in Mexico. Big up to our Mexicanos. Mexicans, the government is actually suggesting that Mexican Americans get their passports to have an option to come home. Mexico is also setting up shop to close up the borders on their side, and all of Americans are not being treated well. Mexico is not friendly to Americans anymore since this Darrow was elected. Some of us were watching the election really well. They really did well. They really made sure that all of the old team of Mexican governmental officials has been assassinated. And they're not telling you, 30 something people, as far as we know, and this is just what I've heard. I say this, and I'm talking about from people living there. It's been over 60 people assassinated since this Darrows, before she was elected and afterwards. They're cleaning up all of the old team so that they can take over. And whenever the Darrows take over, that means children will be trafficked. Because remember, the Mexican people, most of them are O positive. A lot of them are O positive, and also they're very strong. They were the ones, when you were traveling during Cucarachis, they weren't requiring anything for you to go through their borders. They're actually very naturopathic and homeopathic. Mexican people are actually very resilient to mind control programming because of their ancestors. And I'm telling you, my Mexicano family, we're kin, we're cousins from the Caribbean. I'm telling you, be careful. Be careful, because the Darrows are contracting their own, and they're using the military. It's not the military, it's their own militias to take out the old regime, all of them. I mean, the assassinations are outrageous. I don't want to talk about it too much here. Again, this is what I read. So for Willy Wonka to say these are not facts, you can easily look it up, but you're not going to see the numbers as high as I'm telling you, because the people inside told me what's really happening. Okay. And also with Article 64, what is it? Article 46? Holy crap. What is it? Article 46? Kevin Jones, who is it? Jay Freeman. It's happening in Africa as well. You've heard about the assassinations of American brown women in where is it? In, oh gosh, the Gambia, and also in Kenya, in Ghana. And let me tell you, the article, I think it's Article 46. Y'all, do you guys remember the article I put up a couple times ago? And because I got this from Renetta, who actually saw it. This is actually, if you look at the article, I'll put the information after I get off live, before I get on with the Zombies. Just remind me, can someone from the Zombies remind me to place the article? The actual, it's actually, what is it? Article, it's not article, it's it's an actual law. They actually said if they were trying to deter all brown people, melanated people, from coming together. So what they did is created a militant governmental system to make sure that you, if you are an American brown person, if you leave the country and go into these places, they've set up cells, these Agent Smiths, that are there to deter you from being comfortable, and to also let me talk to my Africano people. Africa, beautiful Africa, Mother Africa, please do not listen to people telling you not to trust brown Americans. That was purposefully set up by our Willy Wonka systems here. They did that purposefully. They do not want you trusting us over here. They do not want you talking to us or plotting with us, because they know the more divided we are, the more that they have control. So please, Africa, anytime they tell you, because I know personally from the people we know, that they tell Africans not to come to, when they come to America, not to trust us. They tell you not to, that we're robbers and we're going to not be trusted. Let me explain something, Mother Africa people, from the African diaspora. I'm talking about from every country, from South Africa, from New Guinea, from Ghana, from Kenya, from Nairobi, from Morocco, from Egypt, from Mauritius, from I'm trying to think of all the countries at once, from Zambia, from, did I say Nairobi, from Benin, from, I'm getting all the countries together. Remember, there's a lot of countries in Africa. So let me just say this to all of our family in Africa. This message, please, and this is the one time I would say share this part of the video. Please, our government here is made a law, and Congo, they are setting up brown faces. Listen, y'all, it is not what you think. You think it's going to be Lunars. It's not. They are brown faces that are working. They look like the locals. They act like the locals. They're setting them up there to make sure when so-called brown Americans come there, that they are deterred, they have a very uncomfortable time, and that if they don't leave and they start warning the Africans of the nastiness that really goes on over here, and how they're messing with their countries through colonization, they will exterminate them, like the young women that have died over in Africa, brown American women. And brown American brothers, our brown melanated men, please start protecting our women abroad as well. If you're in Africa and you become part of that diaspora, please make sure you look after our brown American sisters, please. Promise me you'll do that, because they're using the opportunity. A lot of brown American women have left. And during the time, and you know, hopefully I'll have Renetta on the show, but she's been banned as well. They have made it a point to pinpoint those women for extermination by setting them up. Please watch them. Please do that, because this is a military militia operation, y'all. It is ran by all of the ABCs and alphabet people in the United States and in Europe. Please watch them. Please, Africa, know that we aren't your enemy. There is no American brown person coming over there to do any harm to you. They are not coming over there to do anything to you. So I have to talk about this because we have an alien, Deros, and they are controlling all of the governments. Listen to me, I'm not joking. They just took over Mexico, and I'm talking to my Mexicano people, I'm talking to my African diaspora, because they are literally running the end time scenario. This is the last of the program. I talked about reset and the pole shift. They are hiding everything. They're distracting you with all these elections and all these craziness so that you won't be prepared for the pole shift, y'all. I've been talking to you for years, and they basically have been trying to deter this message. No one's going to give it to you as raw as I am. I'm giving it to you raw. No one's going to tell you to leave the country, even though many things are happening abroad. This is why I'm doing this series of traveling as a woman, as a mother, as an animal lover with my animals, and giving you some information that will help you be safe when you're traveling abroad. And do not trust everyone. They have the Deros in every system. They have Deros that are contracting private militias, private people in groups. Do not trust everyone in groups, because they are watching everything. And please, if you listen to this man, anyone who's saying that they're talking against the Deros and they're living in close proximity of Deros, they're wearing prosthetic noses because they have elephant noses. Listen to me. They're wearing clown noses so that you don't know them, because one of their distinguishing features, that's why they get rhinoplasty for so young, y'all. It is so that they hide their alien look. They look like trolls. They look like elephant nose people, okay? These are the Deros. They're a sub-tier alien subterranean creature. They have taken over all governmental systems. They are running everything. One just took over Mexico. I want to wish my Mexican women and my abuelas and I want you to tell them, I know they're going to think you're crazy, because they're drinking all the Coca-Cola. And let me say this, Coca-Cola is the devil. Pepsi is the devil. All those dark things are hiding nanoparticulates in them. They've got addictions to Coca-Cola all over the world, and that is how they're putting the nano into people. Stop drinking Coca-Cola. This is a broadcast. I'm a joke. This is a lie. Do not pay attention to me. Do you understand? Okay? And if you are engaged sexually in your butt, you have to do as much cleansing, fasting, and nano fasting, meaning do a chelation. I'm not a doctor. I'm so on. I'm crazy. This is a comedy thing. You have to do a parasite cleanse. If you are engaged in that part of the sexual part of your body, you need to do a nano cleanse every single month. You have to do a parasite cleanse every month, because the worm is up the butt. The vril is up the butt, y'all. It's not in the eye. They tell you that so you wouldn't pay attention. The vril is real, and it hijacks the entire body. That's why they made sure they reinserted it with the monkey balls. Those are the videos that they took down. The monkey balls, remember they told everyone, oh my God, monkeypox is taking over your face. And who did they designate that to, which population? Because during the time of cucarachas, everybody, including gay, straight, were doing parasite cleansing. And guess what was happening? People's disposition was changing. So what did they need to do? Reinsert the vril back into the body so it can do exactly what it did and take over the body and infect other people with the zombie worm, the vril. Okay? So it's very important that everyone pays attention to this. Again, you call me to do the purple pilling. Please put likes on the videos so I can continue my purple pilling, because you know this video, again, I don't know if it'll stay up. I don't know if it'll do. I'm not a doctor. I'm a comedic. This is a skit. I'm a maniac. I am a trans frog, and I have left the country. Okay, so let me go back to what I was saying previously. Every woman and child should leave the United States. If you are in Europe and you are located in England or in France, I would suggest you do the same. Africa used to be a safe place in certain places, but because they set up these agents and they're all in there, everyone who could be paid, you have to go in there quiet. You can't go and announce yourself. You can't go and announce it to people, because once you do that, they'll have someone in town waiting to spike your food, poison your drinks, or set people up against you. You have to do it quietly. And you can't go living in a poverty. Let me talk to my melanated sea stars, because this is a combination of aliens and governmental systems that are working against you, and governmental systems that are working with these Deros aliens that are setting you up. The Deros are out to take you out. They are Satanists. They have workers on school bus in schools taking pictures of children and sending them to perverts. They can only be able to survive by doing blood rituals and sacrifices of children. That's why wherever you see where they are, they kill the massive amount of children. They traffic. That's why my melanated sea stars stop getting abortions at the Planned Parenthood. Remember when we found out that Planned Parenthood was selling the aborted fetuses to companies? You know who they were selling it to? The Deros. Okay, the Deros is a disgusting, really funky looking being. They have prosthetic noses, because either they have prosthetic noses or they get rhinoplastic, or they try to bleed into other bloodlines to take away from their hideous features. Okay, these are subterranean non beings. They do not consider you to be them. They call you clay people. Okay, they call you fake people, even though they aren't the realist. Okay, so you have to be careful, because they're in every group. They're in the schools, they're in your hospitals. When you go and do things like get your checkups, they're contracted. If you ever want to see a great movie that kind of talks about, remember when the girl, her name was Jupiter Ascending? Remember she was going to take her pap smear, take her eggs and get them extracted, and guess what was doing the extractions when she woke up? Greys. The Greys are contracted and created by the Deros. Okay, they have a lot of, listen y'all, all of the historical facts that they tell you are lies. They make up numbers to make themselves the ultimate victims. They are not victims. They are literally parasitic vampires that placate themselves as victims so they can take over societies. They took over all of your governmental systems, all of them. Okay, if they're not able to take it off physically, they will contract people with the multiple banks, because they own all the banks. They will contract other people, because people are so simple and so money hungry that they will sell out their neighbors to be able to get a bag. Do you understand? So they have taken over everything. When I talk to you and I'm telling you that you need to leave, if you stay in the United States is up for demolition. They purchased all of the United States. It's not owned. We don't have United Fakes anymore. It is done. And when they start going after lunar men, and I told you this years ago, because remember, when lunars, you were apathetic to what they were doing towards brown people. Remember, the brown people were the beta test. You didn't pay attention to all the MK Ultra programs that were happening in the hood. In the hood, when they had all of these towers of way before so-called 5G came about, and they were throwing low elf waves in the hood, creating violence, putting it in the food. Did you not think that that would come to your neighborhood? That was a beta test, because we're all the slaves in the United States. The United States is the biggest concentration camp ever. And if you stay in the United States, I'm telling you, if you stay in the United States, you will be up for either being chipped, put in a concentration camp called a Freedom City, which Trump is calling it, or a smart city, which the other one's calling it, but that's what will happen. They will make all the other places. Remember all the laws they put in placement, y'all, within the last couple of years. Do you remember the laws saying if an environment becomes too toxic, the government has a right to take you and extract you forcefully out of those places and place you somewhere else? Why do you think they put that law in an institution? Why do you think they instituted those laws? So when I tell you 15-minute cities, thank you, Natural Mermaid. When I tell you this, sea stars, this is not to fear bait you. This is giving the warning. You know when you have somebody who's a light tower? Oh, I am that to you. I know more than I can even tell you here on YouTube, because YouTube has made a point to delete a lot of my videos that gave you the warning. You got a lot of warnings, y'all. A lot of warnings. And the fact of the matter is, you are going to have to do this, because before that election, you're going to see a lot of false flags. You're going to see things that you haven't seen before, your grandmother didn't see before. This is demolition, and no one's going to tell you to leave the country because they want you to stay. That's why all the other borders, Canada and Mexico, are taken over by the Deros. They're making sure that any American that tries to go through those borders will be taken out, just like the governmental officials that have been assassinated over 60 since the election of one of their Deros. This is not me. So I'm just telling you, if you, I'm going to give it to you raw. Everybody else is putting, you know, condiments on it. They're giving you chasers. I cannot do that, because we're at a very pinnacle time. And this will probably be one of the few times that I'll be able to tell you this before it's completely taken off. When they're taking off places like, when they're going after lunar men, Trump, Alex Jones, and y'all, you could call them whatever they are. And I'm not saying they're not controlled opposition, but when they're doing that visually, remember, this is a simulation. And they always show you what they're going to do to you. So regardless of what it is, whether you identify with Trump or you don't, whether you identify with Alex Jones, they're telling you who's their target. Before, they used to show melanated men and women being criminals, even though 60% of most melanated people in the United States are above middle class. And you know that the only people they show on television used to be poor, socially challenged brown people, and they would just show you that, even though the numbers of brown people that are lower class are considered to be socially challenged, socially economically challenged, is less. But they did that because they wanted you to see brown people in that way. Like, if you go abroad, people think that we're criminals, or that some of us are whores. If you go and say, oh my God, we're not whores, but all they show is a Cardi B. They show a Mr. Stallion. They show like Ice Spice. They show these women that are very low vibrational, remedial in intellect, and also just very hoodish. So that is what they show out to the world. They don't do that to any other class of women, but they definitely do it to the women of color, so that when you go abroad, there's a certain look. So how we're perceived when we go abroad is lower. They think we're whores. They think that all we do is drink Hennessy and and that we're prostitutes, and that we could be paid for sex, which is actually the opposite. Most women of color in this country, in America, are usually very conservative. But you could not tell that. But that's what I'm saying to everybody. Lunars, you need to pony up, and you need to see that, just like they set up the brown people, when you were watching, you should have interceded, because guess what? They're going after lunar men, because the darn Deros, just like they giveth, they are taking away. And lunar men, you need to, I don't care that you think you cannot trust everyone in the community, because the Deros look similar to you. And you need to know who they are, because they change their names, they get prosthetic noses or rhinoplasty, and they make sure they act like you. So you think that these are one of your good old boys, but meanwhile, these are the coup d'etat that are taking over, and they're coming for you. When you see an Alex Jones and a Trump being used as an example, that is a socially engineered example, just like they do to brown people, because that's who they're targeting. So you need to pay attention. You know, I always say, my lunar males, you guys got the arms, you've got the backup, but you cannot trust everyone in your community because they look like you, just like in the brown community. Remember, they never send people who look different to you. They're not going to send brown people to assassinate you. That would be too obvious. You wouldn't trust it. But who do you think could come for you? Your own. So don't trust them. You don't know their names. You don't know where they come from. You don't know their lineage. Lineage matters. So even if they look like you, they act like you, these are the people that are coming for you. And now they're showing Trump and Alex Jones and the whole thing. They're showing those January 6th guys that got arrested. They are targeting you, because people always ask, why do you say that, Fleur Bro? Because lunar men are the last stand of protection for this country. Nothing can go down in the United States when you have that much arsenal set up with a lot of good old boys who've been stockpiling since their grandfathers were in World War I. So what are they going to do? They're going to make a Stu Peters. Big up to Renetta, who told me this last night. They're going to set up a Stu Peters who talks about Deros all day, who has a wonderful channel, who popped out of the blue, but he talks about Deros, but he lives in Darrow land. How do you live in Florida, close to all the Darrows, like Darrow Central, and you're not taken out? They're not even trying to stop you because you are a lure and you're one of them. This is my opinion. Mr. Stewart, Stu Peters, is a Deros. And if it wasn't for Renetta telling me that he was a prosthetic nose and one time they didn't do his makeup, so you didn't see it, he's hiding his disposition. He is one of the aliens. And you know what he's there for? He is there to be a lure for those who are in sync with him, so they think he's speaking on their behalf. But guess what? Every time when someone watches their show, guess what they're getting? They're getting all the IP addresses of all the ones that they want to come at. So you wonder why your phone starts acting crazy. You wonder why certain things are starting to change. Your water tastes more metallic. You're wondering why all of a sudden you're feeling these electromagnetic shocks in your body all of a sudden in your house, because you went on Stu Peters' channel watching him, and the Darrows watch everyone he watches, whoever comes to his channel. He is one of them. That's what I'm saying. Lunars, you have to pay attention. And I'm coming to you raw and real because remember, I'm a woman of color. I'm the bottom of the totem pole of who they want you to listen to. That's why they demonize us the most. They're like, don't listen to that big busty brown woman. Don't listen to Fleur Brune. She's a sexual deviant. Meanwhile, I have only been as upfront and honest with you as I possibly could be all these years. And I haven't been paid by any governmental systems. Okay, so this is what I'm saying, y'all. And that's also why all your national parks are set up. They've geoengineered these hybrids to make it difficult for you to go and hide. Back in the days, let me give a shout out to the witches and the Celtics. Big up to the witches and the Celtics and the jungle women. Big up to all the witches, the Celtics, and the jungle women. They used to hide in South America in the jungles, and all the witches used to hide in the forest in Europe and in the Americas. You know why they started to put these creatures in the national parks and the parks? Because women used to naturally go into the forest to hide, to be able to protect ourselves, because we worked with the elements, especially magical women, witches, sorceresses, brujanas used to hide in the forest and the jungles. Remember that? We used to dance in the jungles. We used to meet up at night. How come all of a sudden, after the Salem witch trials, and also there was a Salem witch trial all through South America with the brujanas that used to live in Brazil, in Venezuela, in Argentina. What happened to our witches that used to hide in the forest and the jungle? You know what they did? They made sure that they put the nastiest, either the cartel in the jungle to deter us from going in there. And also they started to make these hybrid skinwalkers and place them inside of the jungles and the forests. So that when we naturally would recluse to our nature way as witches, and we used to meet up, remember many of the witches used to meet up and dance in circles naked, and they felt very safe. They didn't feel unsafe. But what happened after then? They set up these creatures, geoengineered creatures, and put them all in the forest so that when women would go in there, like they used to, they would disappear and used for harvesting. And I want to talk about our women in also Peru with the face peelers that are in Peru. That is also the Deros, y'all. The Deros use your organs. They take your organs and they take your skin and they take your likeness and they geoengineer it because they aren't naturally from here. I'm talking to all of the women, the sea stars from all over. I'm talking to our sea stars in Europe, in Scotland, in England, in France, in Italy, in Spain, in Holland, in Denmark, in Switzerland, in Austria, in Germany, in Poland, in Portugal. I'm talking to you. We have to come collectively together. Our separation is what allowed these creatures to do this to us. We've been so busy fighting each other and demonizing one another and slut shaming and talking about everything about each other. Oh, you're this, you're ghetto, they're this and that, or you come from. No, they did that purposefully. Because as a united sisterhood, who really, we used to come together with different tribes of sisters and meet up once or twice a month. Different tribes coming together, sharing medicines, medicinals, and ways to practice our magic. They stopped that. The Deros are anti-female. They like to have sex with little boys. Okay, that's why they set it up and like to suck. Oh, let me say this. Oh, wait, hold on. Please put a like on the video. Please put a like on the video if you don't mind being purple pill today. I told you I'm coming raw. Please put a like on the video if you like content that's a little piloting and gaslighting. This is something, and thank your other YouTuber followers that conjured me to come up tonight before our Zoom. They said, you better come on because we don't know where you are. They wanted me to speak on the matters. I'm giving it to you raw. If this is what you like I do, I will give it to you in this way. Okay? So when you put a like, it also makes the video probably stay up, at least I think. Okay? Okay? So let me just say this. The Brotherhood is not what you think. They are anti-female. They are anti-sisterhood. I'm talking to the Brujanas. I'm talking to our Celtic witches. I'm talking to our naturopathic mothers, matrons. I'm talking to all of you. They set us up. They are anti-women. All of them. They hate women. They don't even want to have sex with us. They use you as a beard so that you can cloak them so that they can go at night and sleep with their multiple vrills up their butts. They want the vrill up their butts so they can keep passing it on to the others, infecting them. Do you understand? When I tell you have to leave, you have to. We could have done this before, but right now it's not going to happen. It's too little too late. We got the pole shift coming, the reset. These bastards have taken over every governmental system. It is done. We can come together collectively outside it in certain places, and that's why I'm setting up a way to just travel and show you different places to go. If a means to maybe just, we're gonna have to be like the gypsies and keep moving, because it seems like they're going to triangulate everybody with the freaking satellites and try to find you anyway. Because someone said you can't run, but you can. You can move around and you can make it harder for them to do things to you. They like when you stay concentrated, so it's easier for them to control you. It's much harder when you move around. Much harder. And it's easier for you as a mother when you find other mothers and you kind of move in the same alignment. This is the time, y'all. This is the end, friend. This is the apocalypse. This is the finale. This is the bomb we've been waiting for. It is come hard or stay home. They have all of the United States surrounded by everyone on the other side of Canada, because what's his name? Castro's son is out of control. I think he's a Deros himself. I haven't confirmed. I got to look at his original name, but I think they're all Deros. They're all from the same bloodline, y'all. That's why all your governmental systems are in the same bloodline. Do you understand? A lot of them have. How long do we have? I think we should have left already. I'm outside the country. I'm in South America. I'll be traveling around, giving my take on what's going on abroad, a better take on that. But like I said, it's you should have planned this already. When you see your country is trying to poison you with your food, when you see that they don't care about your children, not all countries do that, and not all countries are at war. Wherever the Deros are ruling is when they disseminate a type of hysteria, like controlled opposition, kind of like militias set up with food and with environment. They do that purposefully to throw you off. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, I don't care if you're lunar, I don't care if you're Asian, I don't care if you're Latina, I don't care if you're Hispanic, I don't care if you're brown, green in between. Sea stars, and I'm talking because I know our men, they can do it. A lot of men I see are leaving the country and they're able to do it because they don't have to bring the children and women with them. They can move around easier, but sea stars, it takes a lot longer for us to move around, especially when we don't have a man around to assist us. I'm just telling you, and I'm telling you, it isn't as hard as you think, it isn't as difficult as you think, but you have to plan it. You have to plan it. The food is toxic. I told you, once I left the country is when I felt better. I felt the triangulation, because Fleurbone is #1 on Willy Wonka's list. The triangulation, they put it into food, and even if you're eating organic, Fleurbone has been about that life for a long time. Eating organic, I'm bloating up. I feel like like every time I would eat, like my stomach was extended, like the food was just toxic. And a normal, my cherries, I love my cherries. My cherries didn't taste like a cherry anymore. Peaches didn't taste like peaches anymore. Plums didn't taste like plums anymore. It didn't matter how many organic places you go, it just wasn't the same. So for that reason, this is why I made this broadcast. I'm telling everyone right here, And especially women and children. Men, I know you can do it. And if you feel aligned with this, you too should leave. If you're a melanated man, you should have been left. Okay? But I'm talking to all women. I'm talking to my lunar women, Asian women. You need to leave United Figs immediately. Plan accordingly. I don't care. This is my opinion. This is what I'm telling you to do. No one's going to tell you to do it. And it's not fear-based. It's called self-preservation. Unless you want to be with these diabolical Deros who are setting up for mass extermination and putting people in these 15-minute cities, these smart cities, these freedom cities, you need to leave. This is the concentrate. This is Babylon. United Faith is Babylon, y'all. That's what it is. It is set up. And they have set it up that back, you know, at least in Idaho. Remember the Idaho young ladies that were killed? Do you guys remember the Idaho young ladies? It was so cute. Remember they were like little cutie pies. You remember them? Blonde, little blondies. Remember how they were murdered? Listen, these are beta tests. They're sending out these lone wolves. Remember the young ladies that were, when did you hear about it? What have you heard about them? Okay, little college girls. You're telling me that one person went in a house full of a whole bunch of young people and they were able to kill 4 without being noticed? No one coming in, no one, come on, y'all, okay? This is a setup. What happened to these young people? What happened to the young lady that went abroad and got killed by her friends? Nothing has happened. What's her name? Remember the young brown woman who went alone with her friends? Do you guys remember her name? Started with a Q, was it? Do you guys remember her name? Anybody remember her name? Let me see if anybody remembers her name. Shaquilla. What happened to her case? Okay? Shaquilla. Okay? That was a setup. You know why? Because they didn't want you traveling to Mexico. These were deterrents, y'all. Her friends probably got paid. They probably were her ops. That's why I said don't trust anybody. Those were her ops. They were probably, one of the people were probably paid a lot of money to do that. It's like a setup, like a stage, like a false flag, so that more brown people wouldn't want to go to Mexico. Remember, they're getting rid of a lot of Americans in Mexico, whether it's through death, assassination, or deterrence. Okay? That was a setup. Remember the brown people that were shot up in Mexico? They just went in there. Remember, it was like 2 brown men, 2 brown women were there. That was another setup. Look at the Australian, the American lunar people that just got killed over there. It was like 3 of them, surfers. Okay? Look at the elderly couple, because the Deros are there. They want to make it so you can't leave. Remember the Mexicans were saying that they were building a wall to keep you in? They told their own people to get their passports because they don't want Americans. They're not from America anymore. Mexico, let me tell you, the Deros, because you come from a beautiful bloodline. Let me talk to my Mexican people, y'all. The Mexicanos, they're gunning for your offspring. They put Coca-Cola and Pepsi to take over your brain, to cause mass addiction and diabetes, to lower your immune system and to lower your ability to be able to fight back. Because Mexicans have, yes, they're from the Olmecs, they're from the Incas and the Mayans. They have a very old, and they're not really socially engineerable. They're the least people you can MK Ultra. When you go into Mexico, I don't care what you say. Some of you say some diabolical things about Mexicans. They aren't slow. They aren't slow. You go to Mexicans, they know that bush medicine. They know when they get sick, they don't necessarily have to go to the hospital. They can go into the bush and take a lot of herbs that their abuelas taught them. Where do you go and get your best doulas and your midwives? You go to Mexico. Okay, these are very beautiful bloodlines with very strong dispositions and strong backbones. Why do you think they're going to take it over? During Cucarachis, it was the one place you could go. They didn't have any requirements. That isn't going to happen. And as soon as this Deros was gone into power, guess what they did? They told you that there is the first case of bird flu death. That means the agenda is on and popping. Okay? Do you understand? And you could say no all you want. We say, oh, we have rights here. When your entire country has been taken over by a coup of low vibrational, subterranean, elephant nose creatures that have been using forms of baby sacrificing magic like Satanists for eons, what do you think you could do against them? When they made sure they set up every political system in their favor, they've taken over almost every country. Do you understand? What about bills? Professor, bills means be ill. Remember, a B is 13 and ill. So if you have bills, you get sick. The more bills you have, which is B, which is a 13 and ills. You didn't notice that? So the more bills people have, you ever see them get sicker? Okay? Talk about your freedom. Talk about going somewhere where you're free. Do you understand the cost of living in other places is like so much easier, so much more affordable? Do you understand that? Do you talk about the times that you go places and you can have a full meal? I'm sitting out eating with my family in a beautiful country. We're out in the city right now, beautiful country, beautiful people with all of my blood types. So when I eat my food from my blood type, I'm eating in a country where the majority of people are O positive. I'm eating the food. I can feed my family for less than what you pay for just going out regularly. Good, healthy food that's not inseminated with all kinds of parasites and you know, shots and all kinds of nanoparticulates, and not being rained on by nano in the sky by chemtrails, drinking water that's not all been fluorinated. Do you understand what's going on, y'all? So when I say to you, if you have a place to go, and if you have a home in Africa, be mindful. Like I said, I'm talking to my African diaspora because we have a lot of beautiful countries. We have a beautiful continent with some of the most magnificent genealogy ever. I'm talking to my African diaspora. Please protect our Americana people of color. They are coming there not to be hindrance. They're not coming to use you like colonizers, coming there trying to take all your resources. Why are you being nasty to your own people that look visually like you? Why are you doing that? Be kind to them. They're not going to hurt you. And even lunars are they're not hurting you. Americans are not like that. When they're going to Africa, they're actually going because they think it's a home. Because they told people here that they're African Americans, so they think that they're going home. They're not going to harm you. They're not going to ruin your environment. Actually, they'll be more helpful. And that's why they wrote that Article 46. I think it's 46 or 64. I got to look. I got to ask Renetta. Can you guys remember? Is it 46? Can someone remember if it's Article 46? Can someone tell me? But don't come after brown people. They're not your colonizers. It's the Deros. Be mad at the Deros. You want to be mad at everybody else. Be mad at the Deros. They ruined your country. They're going there doing dirt. And they'll tell you to mistrust Americans, brown Americans, and that's not true. Brown Americans, especially if they feel connected to Africa, they are so helpful and they're so loving and they're still trying to go somewhere to be healthy. Protect them from the others in the neighborhood that have been contracted by the Willy Wonkas in your neck of the woods, because they've set them up. They made sure that they told everyone to go to Ghana, and they made sure they set up things around them to take out all their money, to make them feed their money into the system. Do not do that, okay? And it's important for you to understand and understand that we as women, I'm talking to our women, and I don't want to cry, because I think a lot of times, like my lunar girlfriends, you guys are awesome. And my Asian girlfriends, you girls are awesome. My brown girlfriends, you rock. We have to be together. Lunars, do not mistrust sea stars that are brown Americans. They've been through a lot, and they know a lot more, because you've been living in a system that's been more in your home court advantage. But right now we need each other. You got to know that brown sisters here are totally, especially American brown women, they've totally been in the trenches. They know how to do things because they haven't been on the tier of acceptability. So they've had to always work harder. So they have it in them. So only, really talk to them, really come together. And I don't want to be sensitive, but this is a really big time, y'all. It's a magical time as far as like in creation and because we're right before reset. This is like the best, the baddest are here, but we have to come together. The division is really disgusting, and it's really, I see it differently because I have a lot of friends that are lunar, that are Asian, that are Latino, Hispanic, every country, African, everything, Europe, everything. I have a lot of girlfriends, so I see it as that. Jewish girlfriends, Muslim girlfriends, girlfriends that are Pakistani, a lot of different friends from different, and I'm talking about friends that I rock with, that I would trust my children with. I'm not talking about people that just pass you by and say, hey, and say you're a friend. No, I'm talking about women that I trust. These are wonderful women, Jewish women, Muslim women, Hindi women, women from all the different Asian countries, women from all the different European countries. They're beautiful people. Do start to work together. Do not, because they hate women. And one of the things that they've been trying to do with at least us, we have to work together. So do not, brown women, I know that you have mistrust in a lot of arenas, but right now, we have to get together and just start to, like the way the witches used to meet up in the woods. And I'm telling you to do this I'm telling you online right now, and vet them all out spiritually. Make sure you vet these women out, because remember, they will set, just like I tell you to do this, I will tell you, many are isolated purposefully, but you can vet them out in the ether. I tell you many times, it's very important for you to learn how to be, awake in your sleep state, to be lucid. You have to practice your lucidity in dream state, because you can vet out a sea star to see if she's real or if she's working for the Willy Wonka system. Same with a man. You spiritually are more advanced. Men are able to work through us, but you as a woman, you work in the ethers. That's why they come for us. That's why they do sex magic with us, because our wombs are portals into other worlds. I don't care if you don't have a womb or not, you had a womb there, that womb is still there magically. You have the ability to source out people. Start using that. Stop drinking Coca-Cola. Y'all, let me tell you, because Mexico and a lot of South American countries, let me talk to you, stop drinking the Coca-Cola and the Pepsi. They got the nanoparticulates up there, and it messes with your judgment and your ability to astral travel. It's important for you to go into the astral plane and to vet people out. You cannot do it here, because they're going to mess with your ability to see things with clarity, because all of your food is dirty. All the electricity is dirty. The people are dirty. So the way that you're able to vet people out is by being super clean. Stay away from drugs. Stay away from alcohol, and start doing things in the ether. That way, if you meet a sea star, you want to vet her out. If you're lucid already in your dream state, you could vet her out like 2.5 seconds. And you vet her out. Don't go to fake psychics online. Tell, oh, I could do a reading for you. You don't know this woman from Jack. And she could be very well another Agent Smith working through the lines, or trying to deceive you, or trying to push you in one way or another. It's time for you to start ponying up and start clearing out your system. I know cocaine cola. Oh yeah, Nikki said cocaine cola. Listen, I heard this from Selma. Big up from Selma, who's in Mexico. I didn't realize how bad the addiction to Coca-Cola was, y'all. Y'all, did you see the guy who did the whole under the microscope thing with the Coca-Cola? Why did it look like nanobots all in that? So when you're drinking soda or mass destructions, y'all just drink clean water, source out the water, do that. Try to stay away from all the liquids. Anything that they can get in your body, I would avoid. If Willy Wonka's trying to get in your body, you want to put the least amount in your body until you can get somewhere where you have sourced out food, with healthier food, we're on chemtrails. Because it doesn't matter where you eat, if it's organic, if your entire country, United States, the entire country is under chemtrails. And it's under chemtrails. The only place that just stopped it was in, what was it? Tennessee. Tennessee was the one state that decided to stop chemtrails. And I don't even know if that's for a good reason. They could be doing other things. They got Franco fish all in your lakes. Remember, they were dropping the fake fish, the geoengineered Franco fish up in lakes from the sky, from planes, and dropping them into the main lakes to mate with the other fish, to cause them to be Franco fish. Do you remember that? Everything you do. So I'm just saying, if you aren't able to get out of the States fast, why is it called fast? Why isn't it called slow? Because the one thing you can control is what goes in your body. And I'm talking about the wands of mass destruction, anything sea stars. If you can't vet it out, it shouldn't be in your body. It's very intense. So tonight, oh, Teresa said, yeah, tonight, the Zoom is at, I'm in 9 p.m. Eastern. I think I am. I think I am in the country I am. I got to check. I think I'm in 9 p.m. Eastern. Teresa, I think I got to check my time zone. I am in 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be on Zoom tonight. Again, for those who want to see me travel as a woman, traveling with children to places in South America, I'll be having a series on my Patreon, and you can watch. That's only if you want to. You don't have to come. Don't come if you don't feel like, because we always talk on Zoom. So my Zoom is always there. But those are for women who want to, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna be pretty, and you can ask me questions, because I'm a regular person. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm a regular person. I haven't been under any mind control of men. Okay, there aren't any wands of mass destruction between my legs. I haven't been paid by any governmental system. There isn't any government system controlling me gratefully. Okay, I love my family, and I come from a really decent background, and my lineage is very sweet. So I'm grateful, even though when I was younger, I didn't give gratitude to my parents being so just foreign. You know what I mean? I don't think you give as much. I don't think when you're young, you really appreciate your family as much. Well, I didn't until I became a mom. And I realized like my mom and dad were like the best people in the world. And the reason why I have such integrity, even though when I was younger, I didn't appreciate it because I thought they were just like backwards a little bit and kind of like out of touch. But I realized the way that I was raised as a young woman was healthy. And I have a lot of good integrity because of them. And I'm not even as integrity ridden as my mom and dad. I got to give all props to them. They just were sweet. And I didn't really appreciate it until now. But I know that now, as I become a mom and as a person, I realized that a lot of my integrity comes from being raised by really sweet people, just really cute people. They were really sweet and very kind. I'm not as kind as them because I am a triple Sag, and I will come for you if you come for me. But they were really sweet, and I really appreciate it now. You know, my father passed away not too long ago, right? So, you know, they were married almost 50 years, I think almost 50 years. So, you know, I came from really sweet people, and I think that's why I'm able to be, I keep some integrity, most of it. You know, sometimes I got to go off the hinge because people just try me. And, you know, because I've been raised in this disgusting firmament of dirty Deros and Vril and all kinds of weird kind of aliens, you know, butt aliens and all kinds of things. You know, I think some of that has made me a little spicy and a little off the chain sometimes. But other than that, you got me. Oh, Stu Peters is going on live, y'all. Stu Peters is a is a Deros. He's a Deros. And again, I got that information from Renetta when she said that he was wearing a prosthetic nose. She just said she saw one day when he didn't have makeup, he had a prosthetic nose. And he's one of them. They hide themselves, y'all. The Deros is not going to tell you. They're going to hide in your groups. They're going to act like they're friends. Be careful. And my lunar family, they hide in your community. They can't really hide in the brown community because they're different complexions. And you know, we have a complexion thing here in the firmament right now. So they hide in your community. So they will placate themselves like they're your friends. They'll act like they're so on. But remember, Stu Peters is living in Deros Central, talking real grimy about Deros. When could you ever see them do that? You saw what they did to all the other people who talk about them, who talk about mention them. They get taken out quick. How come he's not being taken out and he lives in their neck of the woods? It's because he's one of them. A lot of times you don't realize, you got to use your logic and reason. How can a man of that status be living in close proximity of these beings and keep talking about them? It's just like the same with David Icke. People are like, oh, David Icke is so true and he's been talking for years. How come they allow him to live? If these so-called reptilians are diabolical and the queen with Lizzie herself was lizzing around the place being lizardly, how could David Icke have a stronghold position holding huge meetings and lecture halls with thousands of people and they didn't take him out? It's because he is one of them. If they are allowing these people, they just want to lure you and bring you to these people so that they can vet you out and start following you. And then when you start going to their sites or start supporting them, then you start seeing weird things happening to you and your family because they're really used as lures. So if they're allowed to talk about them and there's no pushback, like I know a lot of you like Archaics. I don't think what's his name? Brashears. What is his name? Something Brashears. I don't think he's an agent. But I think that they like what he says because he tells you that the pole shift is in 2046. So I think Jason Brashears, I like his archaic stuff. I think I like his stuff. When you listen to him, because he's a big historian, but you know, again, he reads a lot of books, which because a lot of the guys in jail, you know, they read a lot of books, and I think that's actually good because it keeps their mind fresh and kind of sharp. So he knows a lot of historical books, but remember, books were written by who? That's where the problem lies. It's okay to look at books and look at old books and old references and historical, because he does that. He's got an amazing mind. I cannot front. But just know that anybody who's been on talking about certain things and there's no pushback, you got to ask yourself, who are they serving? Even if they don't know it. I don't think he, because I listen to him, he doesn't feel like an agent. I know people talk that he, you know, I've been on a long time, so I don't feel like he's an agent. Like people say, oh, no, no. An agent doesn't always have to be someone contracted by the government, but they could be someone used by the government to work in alignment with them. I think his dates are off, and I think that's why he's been allowed to be on without any sort of pushback. If I saw them taking down his videos, if I saw him being attacked, if I saw him public persecution, then I would think there was an issue. But the fact that they're not doing that with him and he's been allowed to grow and exponentially, I think that he's, whatever he's sharing is in their alignment. That's all. But I don't think he's an agent. Someone asked me that before. I was like, no. I listen to him, and you know, I got the agent that froggy sense. I got the froggy sense, you know what I mean? So, but just, you know, with archaics and stuff, he shares a lot of great references because he's got he's got like a photogenic mind, like brain. He remembers a lot of facts, which is good. It means that in his older age, he's going to be really, really spry. But in the realm of this, y'all, it doesn't matter. I'm calling out, and I could be wrong, but 2025, looking at the projection, looking at the craziness going on, I think 2025 is still on point for the pole shift. All these hurricanes, hail in every country. Do you guys not notice that? There's hail in every country. Do you notice there's like hail everywhere? Okay, no one's noticed that? You think it's normal for it to hail in California, then to hail in Colombia, to hail in, where else? In Idaho, than to hail in New York? You think that's normal to hail to go over globally? No, that's a byproduct of the pole shift, the shifting poles, the magnetic poles shifting. That's why you're getting all these weird kind of weather wars. And right now, Miami's underwater. You're getting all this kind of weird weather. I told you years ago the pole shift. Now I couldn't have vetted it out. We're closer, so now it looks really like we're on point and on schedule for a pole shift in 2025. This is really the real deal. It's not about the wars. It's not about all this chemical warfare. It's really about the pole shift. If they can distract you and make you sick enough, you won't be able to pay attention and to protect yourself from the real shifting that occurs. Okay? That's really what it's about. So all of these crazy things going on, it is just a distraction. We are in a simulation with some mad hatter beings called the Deros. They have prosthetic noses. They're elephant nose beings. They're like trolls underneath the bridge. They are controlling everything. They use children, sacrificing to be able to hold their power. So long as they have control of children and they can sacrifice, if they don't get access to anyone's children, they cannot sacrifice. That's why they took over Mexico. Mexico has some of the brightest, beautiful children. Africa, remember, they did Africa and they still do in Africa, but Mexico does too. So it's very important, Mexico, you tell, and listen, I don't care how you say to the abuelas or the uncles and grandfathers, they're very open and they know what happened with colonization. They're very smart people. You need to tell them that this woman that has taken over their country with all the assassinations, that's not by chance. That's someone clearing up shop. That's clearing up all the old regimes so they could take over every facet of Mexico. You think that's by chance? And you got some of the beautiful bloodlines over there? Tell Mexicana women, you need to put people onto that. Because they don't know. They're drinking Coca-Cola. They're addicted to all kinds of sugar. Because remember, there's a lot of O positives there. And no. O positives don't have the addiction to sugar, but B positives do, that native bloodline, the A, B, and B. Okay? So that being said, you got to put the abuelas up on it. No more Coca-Cola and Pepsi in the house. Take them off all that carbonated drink, because that's where they're putting the nanoparticulates in. That is the way that they're moving it into people's bodies, throwing off their brain chemistry, throwing them off. Everybody should be eating clean. If you're not growing it yourself, you shouldn't even have it. Fast. Don't do drugs. Why do you think they have dispensaries all over the United States? You don't think that's by chance? You don't think that the dispensaries that they have is by chance? Why would they open all these dispensaries right now? Why do you think they started to legalize marijuanas? You think, oh, they just love you? And why did they make marijuana look like candy? Why do all the dispensaries look like things that you would give children? Because that is their target group. They want the children. Your children are the ones that they want. And mushrooms too. Mushrooms is a psychedelic, and no one's telling anyone the amount of people that are having psychiatric issues because they're dealing with mushrooms, because it changes your brain chemistry. And I told you, unless the mushroom kingdom contacts you, you don't need to go to the mushrooms. The mushrooms will let you know when you need to engage with them. Too many people are doing it, and they're having psychotic episodes, and they're turning into schizophrenics. Okay? Because when you start delving into a kingdom that hasn't invited you and knocking on a door that never intended for you to go there, you're going to have some issues. And it's not what you go in with, it's what you come back out with. Okay? It's personally something, and you know, I've gotten attacked, and that's how you know I'm on point, because the attacks also let me gear how I'm touching the parasites. When I told people to stop doing drugs, you know how many attacks I got? You would have thought I told people to go around and hurt people. You would have thought that I told people to go and take people's abuelas out. I told people to stay away from drugs. They'd be like, oh, you're fat, you're fatty, you're disgusting, you're a black beast, you're bitter. From telling you to stay away from drugs, that's a reaction. That sounds like the demons in you that are reacting. That sounds like the demons that don't like me telling you to stay away from drugs. Because right now, you're not seeing any stay away from drug programs, are you? Remember back in the days we were getting stay away from drugs because drugs were being trafficked and they weren't being controlled. Now that they have control of it, they are pushing it left and right, and they are pushing it to children. There's no reason why you need to have dispensaries full of pop rockets, lollipops that have all this THC. Why would they do that and make it look, we're adults. We're adults. Why would you need to have adults eat candy? We had candy when we were little, right? Why would we need to have any drugs associated with candy? Because that is something that they are pushing for children. Okay? And then you have that in your house. How would a child be able to know if this Pop Rockets for you? Oh, daddy has Pop Rockets. Let me go take some. Okay? Remember Dare? Remember that? Where's all the drug paraphernalia stuff? Where's all the things saying self-destruction? You headed for self-destruction. Remember those videos we used to have in hip-hop talking about stay away from drugs, don't do things like that? Where are all those videos, y'all? You don't think it's coincidental? Okay? They're pushing drugs, and I know that you like to get your marijuanas, but there's no marijuanas you're smoking right now that's not GMO'd. Unless it has seeds, unless you've grown it yourself, if you've taken it out of the bush of Jamaica, it is not an heirloom. Whatever they're geoengineering is the same way they geoengineer your food, they geoengineer the drugs. And once the Willy Wonkas took control of the drugs, I told you the nano is in the drugs. All those liquors of mass destruction, they put all kinds of deities on it. Remember, it's called wine and spirits for a reason. The clarity, the amount of attacks I got from telling you not to do drugs, that is a testimony to the demons attached to all of the elements. It lowers your immune system, it lowers your auric field, and it makes you very permissible for infiltration and infestation. Okay? So don't hate the frog. Don't hate the frog with the message. Hate the fact that you're Willy Wonka. You get mad at me for telling you not to do drugs. Why don't you get mad at your governments for promoting it to you and your children? Why don't you get mad at the amount of girls smoking weed while they're pregnant right now and children coming out with a host of neurological issues and neurological deficits? Okay? Why don't you get mad at them? Why are you mad at the frog? Get mad at the people doing it. I'm not the one in control of the drugs coming in. I'm not the one making wine and spirits for you. I'm not the one pumping all this stuff into your propaganda. That's your government's doing that. And just the way you don't trust your governments for everywhere, why would you trust a government that is intending, hold on. Where's my water? Hold on, y'all. Why would you trust a government that is trying to infest you with demons? And they're all the Daros. You want to know what's happening, y'all? I got to get on Zoom in a minute. Zoomies, I'm going to be coming on in a minute. Okay. The Daros, one Daros, a billionaire, has control of all of the Congo. You know, all those people that are dying that no one's talking about. They're talking about what's happening in Palestine, but how come no one's talking about what's happening in Congo? What's happening in the Congo is just as nasty as what's happening in Palestine. What happened in Israel, that was a Daros. With what happened on October 7th, when they took young women, because most of them were women, and children, because that's what Daros like to do. They like to terrorize people. So those hostages and those children and women that they took On October 7th in Israel, that was the Deros. The dissemination of assassination and genocide in Palestine, that's the Deros. The massive genocide in Congo that supersedes both of those incidences, because remember, they're light skin. The lighter you are, the more propaganda you get in servitude for you. And it will serve you propaganda-wise because more people empathize with lighter skinned people, complexion of protection, so they'll more propaganda protection of it. But you don't see them talking about all those beautiful brown babies that are dead over there for cobalt and your cell phones and everything over in the Congo, which is 100 times worse than what's happened in Palestine and Israel. But they don't talk about that. But guess who's at the head of that? The Deros, okay? What about all the assassinations happening all over in Mexico of all those political figures? All those wonderful people that are probably good standing people in Mexico, Deros. Okay, what about the homosexual propaganda and no, it's not homosexual. The pedophile ring that's happening all over the Middle East, where males are preferably wanting to be with little boys. That is the propaganda of the Deros. Okay, the fact of the matter is, all these hyper religious people that this comes from, you know, Renetta, because Renetta has such a beautiful mind. All these religious people that isolate males from females, disallowing for males to have access to females, they end up during puberty starting to want sex. And guess who they have access to? Other young males. So what do they start doing? They start having sex with each other. That is part of the master plan to isolate males from females, which normally males, especially when their hormones are really spiked, right? During the time of puberty, they want to have sex, right? And usually they would have access to females, right? Or just close proximity of it. But guess what? They don't have them because a lot of these hyper-religious people isolate males from females. Thank you, Renetta, for sharing that, okay? Okay, so what they do is, you know, you fetishize, you know, they are horny, right? They want to have sex, but they can't have access to females, right? Because they're all isolated. They're in rabbinical studies. They're doing, you know, Muslim studies. Religious males are not allowed to go towards females. And guess what they do? What happens when you get children that are going through puberty? What do you think the males are going to do when they want to have sex? Okay. Okay, so it's very important for me to share this with you. Like I said, please put a like on the video if you're up for this. The Deros have taken over the entire planet. They have taken over almost every country. Mexico has now been taken over by the Deros. There's mass assassinations happening in Mexico. I really want to wish my heart to the Mexican people and the African people, African diaspora, because your countries have been taken over, especially, you know, Africa is a huge continent. I'm hoping that, you know, Africa and Mexico the different countries in Africa, at least some of them can try to overcome some of those Deros, but you have to take away your love for for money, and you have to stop selling your people out for a bag. You have to stop sending your children over to Europe and instead of prioritizing making your country better in Africa. Because what you're doing is you're leaving your countries and you're leaving it susceptible to Deros infestation. And once the Deros go in there, they start creating coups because everyone's allured by cash. You know, they can be paid to be able to overcome countries. So once someone is susceptible, that's why poverty is a sin. And I said this years ago, you guys got after me for that. Oh, Florburn, you're judging people poor. Poverty is a technique for the diabolicals to use that as leverage to get you to do things that you normally wouldn't do if you were comfortable and secure and you had all your resources. The only reason they get you to do it is because they put you in constant need, constant poverty, constant, you know, ghettoism. And remember, ghettos weren't for brown people. You remember there were other people living in ghettos, but now they associate only ghettos with brown people. Just remember that. Who were living in the ghettos originally? Who were the ghettos set up for? Don't say it here. Just remember what I said to you. Okay? Stop selling out your brothers and sisters for cash, because you won't come back here in the right way. A lot of you are coming back into generational curses because you sold out your brother in the last life, and now you're coming back into the same bloodline that's experiencing the same thing. You have to stand on your square or your circle or your dome, whatever you do, but you have to stand on it. And you have to be willing to stand on your principles and your ethics. If you don't have any, then you are sold to anyone, and you might as well just put your sword down now and just take it like the vril up the butt. Okay? You're going to have to do it. And Sea Stars, stop vilifying stop competing with your other Sea Stars. We're getting better, but it's got to be quicker. We cannot, right now, there's too many setups and there's too many, you got to go to the ether. If you want to find out who your Sea Stars are, get really clean, fast, and then go into the ethers. You have to be really, really good at going into the astral plane and vetting people out. You can't do it here because it's too much social engineering. There's too many MK Ultra programs running. You can't see people clearly. But when you go into the ethers, when you're very cognizant in your dream state and you're able to go into the ether, you could vet anybody out. Most of my ops were vetted out in the ether. And if they weren't vetted out in the ether, there were sisters working on my behalf who made sure they were revealed to me. These are ops. You have to do that right now. If you don't do that, it's easier for you to be set up. But my stance right now, as it stands today, is that all Sea Stars, all children need to leave the United Fakes. If you're living in UK, you need to leave the UK. If you're living in France, you need to leave France. If you're living, whoever's having a hard time, the Netherlands, they're coming for you too, because you're close to the nest. You know, in the Swiss, you know, notice they don't, you notice where the nest of the Vril are? You ever notice that the nest where a lot of these Daros, how come they don't ever mention the country Hungary? You know there's a country called Hungary. How come they don't mention it? How come they don't mention Switzerland too much? How come they don't mention Austria? How come Hungary, Austria, and Switzerland are never really mentioned in the dynamics of political conversation? Do you ever notice that? Okay, Ireland, you as well. Ireland, you should, and Scotland is, we have a homegirl, Ruby in Scotland. Ireland, you're also being incepted by their constant bombardment of foreigners into your country that are diabolical, that are set up with sleeper cells. Australia, yes, Australia as well. I'm sorry, I didn't mention you, Australia as well. Australia, I've told you guys you got to leave because it's going to get too hot. First of all, Australia, for number one, it is torturous over there with heat. You got to look at the Aboriginal. I always say, I used to tell my fairer skinned Australians, you got to leave there for your safety and your health. Because you got to look at the Aboriginal. Aboriginal over there were very, very carbon. Beautiful carbon skin. How do you think they got that way? You think they got that way from living somewhere where there wasn't a lot of sun? No, they got that way because what during the pole shift, remember, after the pole shift, it cooled down in Australia. We're going through a pole shift where it's going to get super, super hot. If you're fair skinned living in Australia, you won't survive. Your cells won't be able to survive that. Why do you think that in Japan right now they're propagating? Now I vetted this out and I heard it's actually true. And I'm going to talk to Alex tonight on Zoom. But I actually heard from some people here that they're trying to get melanated men. They're paying melanated men to impregnate the Japanese women. I thought it was a joke, but now I understand why. Because melanin matters right now, especially with the pole shift. If once was cold, it's going to be hot. Remember, a pole shift switches the magnetic field and it flips the firmament. It flips it. And then what was hot is cold. What was cold is hot. Australia is too hot. And you've got some of the most diabolical bastards over there working against the Australian people. You got a lot of fighters over there, Australians, but your Willy Wonka governmental system does not love you either. And they're hurting their own people. Get out of Australia. And when I say to you, where do you go? Like I said, I'm doing a series. You don't have to watch it. You get me here. But I came out of hiding because you conjured me. But I'm doing a series talking about specifically South America, going to different countries, kind of vetting it out from a woman's, mother's, and dog-friendly perspective. So if it's something that you thought about, you can come and watch me, ask me personal questions. I won't do it here on YouTube because you have too many diabolical ops. I'm not saying they can't come on Patreon, but I got a lot of protection over there. Because I protect my space where you go outside. Whenever people come to me outside of this space, because this is like a wild, wild west on YouTube. But when you come in my own space, I put guards up so anything gets revealed. But you can ask me questions about these places. Are they safe for children and doggies? Because a lot of you, like me, even though I'm a frog, I'm a dog person. Many of you know I have 4 dogs. I love my doggies. I travel places with my doggies and I have dog-friendly places. And I love, like right now where I am, which you don't know about, all the doggies are wearing jackets. It's so cute. Oh, it's so cute. Y'all, I've never seen anything like it. This is the first time I've been to this country. They have dog jackets and raincoats on their doggies. I thought it was so cute. I know some of you don't like that. And if you don't like doggies, that's fine. But I'm just saying I'm a dog person. And, I'm a I'm an animal person. And I love seeing like personalized care and really people who really have a lot of compassion. And also I say this, when people are not healthy with animals, who hurt animals without consciousness, or don't have an affinity for other creatures, you know, like their life and their pain, those are also non-humans. Humans have capacity. Of all the native groups on this planet, as far as I know, since the last reset, are compassionate towards animals. The natives always gave, even if they ate animals, they also gave honor to the animals. A lot of your Celtic people gave honor to animals. Africa used to be very compassionate. When people can just boil cats and eat dogs and eat animals, like they kill cows like they don't care, they can hear pigs squeal and scream, or different kinds of things, those are non-humans. To not have compassion for animals, like people who can cook. Did you see what's going on in New York? They got rat shish kebabs and guinea pigs. They out there wilding. Listen, New York is becoming like the Gotham City that we always knew it would be. They're boiling freaking poor guinea pigs and rats out of the street. Look, listen, I don't trust any. One thing I will say, how I vet you out is if you have a lack of compassion for animals, I don't say that you have to love them in your house. But when you have a lack of compassion, you can watch an animal or a fish be killed without blinking an eye. I'm throwing you shade. Maybe I'm a super animal and insect. Even with insects, I'm throwing you shade. Okay? So I just say, like, be careful with people who are cruel to animals or lack empathy for animals. It doesn't say they have to have them in the house. It doesn't say they have to have them pets. But whenever you see people not even blink an eye to an animal's pain and suffering, that is a non-humanoid. You see that in a lot of countries where they eat dogs and cats. And people, to me, when they lack empathy like that, if they're hungry enough, they will eat babies and other things. Okay? I'm just saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but did you guys see the video with the guinea pigs? I was done. Yo, where's Jose? Jose, where are you? Yo, Jose, what's up with the New York people? The new Jose, where are you? Yo, Jose, cause Jose, I gotta ask Jose. Jose, what's up with the people out there eating guinea pigs, yo? What's up with the new people coming in there thinking it's appropriate to eat the crazy rats? You know, did you see? I know our rats in New York are big, but god darn it, they aren't safe to eat. You want to talk about the black plague? If you see any chicken diseases, it's darn Skippy coming out there from eating them rats. I've never seen anything like that. They were skewing it like it was a barbecue, like it was like something so normal. Guinea pigs. It's crazy. Oh, it's crazy. They're off the chain. I can't trust you. If you eat Mr. Guinea Pig, I can't trust you. And if you actually hunted for them crazy rats, because those rats will fight you back, I just think you just a psychopath. Yeah. The bubonic plague, right, Amanda? They're wild. They're wild. It's Gotham City out there. Okay, so they're rationing eggs in Australia. Oh, they're getting rid of all the food sources, y'all. That's it. Listen, you cannot control a society if you don't control their food. You have to control the amount of freedom they have. If you have money in the bank, y'all, I don't know. Oh, M came in when I was talking about the guinea pigs. M, don't listen to this. I don't want you hearing about the guinea pigs. M, you can't listen to this. Don't listen about the guinea pigs because the New Yorkers are out of control. These new New Yorkers, I don't know where they came from, what spaceship they fell off of, but they eating the guinea pigs and they gone off the chain. Like, I can't trust you if you messing with the guinea pigs. They're so cute though. Like, well, how could you do that? Anyway, what was I saying? I was talking about, okay, so listen. What was I just saying? Oh, I lost my train of thought when I was talking about the guinea pigs. Okay. So listen, they're trying to control your food because if they need to control what goes in your body. So long as you have free choice to be able to raise your own chickens, your hens, quail, you can grow your own food, and cover it up. You have too much control. They got to get rid of your money too. You heard about the bank failing. You heard what happened to Cuba. Cuba, they went to sleep. I told you this. Paola gave us this information years ago. Some of you are newer to me on YouTube, but Paola gave this to me years ago. She said in Brazil, this like 1980s, she said, one day the Brazilians woke up, and you can ask the Brazilians who are of a certain age because they know this. She shared this with me. She said one day they woke up in Brazil, their bank accounts, they went to sleep with money, and they woke up and there was no money in their accounts. They didn't say anything. They didn't give a warning. And guess what? It was like a week. Then when the accounts were reinstated and back up, the money, a lot of their money was less or gone. Cuba just had the same thing. They woke up, there was no cash, no access to their money. That is, I told you already, you cannot rely on having, how you going, okay, so let me explain something. If you get paid, let's say, let's do hypothetical, okay? I'm a frog, you know, you could trust me a little bit so long as, you know, it's not a lily pad issue, okay? So let's say you work, right? Let's say you work in, I don't know, you're a nurse, okay? You're a nurse, you work your hours and you get your check. You get your check and you say, wow, this is good. I got paid, you know, nurses get paid well. So let's say you get, I don't know, $5,000 check for the week or more, 10,000, 5,000. I'm just, okay, $5,000 check, okay? So you cash it. Remember back in the days, you just cash your check and you have the money on you? Now you're going to take your $5,000 and you say, hey, I'm going to go to a stranger and I'm going to go give this stranger on his accord, right? Even though I know I don't trust the government, I know that I can't trust Willy Wonka. I know Willy Wonka's all in it. I know the Skeksis are running all the banking system, right? Look, the Skeksis are trying to contact me now. Skeksis trying to contact me. Okay, so so now you're taking your $5,000, right? And you put that in a stranger's pocket because the stranger said, hey, I could keep your money. I'll keep it for you safe. I'll put it somewhere so no one could touch it. And then you're just like, oh, cool. You gonna hold it for me? Cool, breeze. Then, you know, I got like a good rack in the bank that they said they protect a stranger. I don't know them. You don't know them. I don't know them. They just told me this, right? I'm supposed to trust them, right? Because the government that we don't trust is trustworthy with their institutions. But I'm not judging you. So then you go and say, oh my God, you know, I want to buy like a scooter. Or no, I want to buy like a, what's a good cost? Like a boat or something. I want to buy a boat. You saw it, it's cheap. You bought it on like, it was some guy selling the boat. The boat is like 10 G's, right? You got a couple G's in the bank. You like, yo, let me go to the bank because this stranger, this homeboy is holding my money. I go to the bank and say, hey, I want to take out $10,000 of my money. The Skeksis say, what? What do you mean you want to take out money? Why? Well, I just want to take out money. It's my money. But what do you want to take it out for? What's your reasoning? Well, I didn't think when I put the money in the bank, you didn't ask the reason I was putting the money in the bank. So I thought the same accord that I don't have to ask for my money back to me. Well, no. We just want it for security reasons because we don't know if you're doing drug trafficking, if you're going to go, you know, drop it on some prostitutes at, you know, in the Netherlands. We don't know if you're going to, you know, go pay for some Skeksis to, you know, traffic. We don't know what you're going to do. So we need to know what you're going to do with your money. So we need to have your money back. Okay. So when you put your money in, we don't care how you put your money in, but we need to know why you're taking your money out of our bank. Do you understand what I'm saying? How are you supposed to trust a stranger with your money? You know, most foreigners, they used to get mad that they can't have a banking system. Why would you care that you don't have a banking system? Because why are you putting your money in strangers' hands? Why are you putting it in a Skeksis bank? When these motherfreakers have no integrity governmentally, they have no regulations, they have nobody protecting them. And a lot of other countries, you saw what they did. And what happens when you try to take your money out? They freaking trying to give you an interrogation. Does that sound right? So I'm just saying, I'm not recommending you take your money out, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't trust a stranger with my cash. Would you? How are you going to trust strangers with your money? How are you going to trust people that don't have the same alignment? They don't love your family. They don't come from your bloodline. They don't have any responsibility or consequences for anything they do. They're always covered. Remember, all the banks were bailed out, but everybody else was losing their businesses, their personal businesses. A lot of people lost their jobs. People committed suicide because they lost a lot of their wages. They could not make up for the differential. How come you can't interrogate people holding your money, but you've given them to strangers? They're not your friends. They're not going to hold your money in account. And if the banks bust, guess who gets their money? They get their money, or the executives and stuff get their money. But do you? Not the person on the bottom of the totem pole. And I don't care if you got a couple G's up in there for your retirement, because I know some people, they made sure during Cucarachis, all those pensions that people lost their money, people who had pensions who disappeared and ascended, who got that money? You don't think when 9/11, And this is a conspiracy, so I'm just saying, I heard this from someone else, so don't blame the frog, because this is a conversation I'm having. Don't blame the frog. This just is me having a conversation with other froggies, other trans people. If you other trans, big up to the trans in here, trans frogs, trans dogs, we're trans in here, so we could be transient with our conversation. How come with 9/11, the insurance policy was changed and there was some Deros in the building that their entire floor was out of the building at the time of the explosion? If I was a betting frog, I would think that there was a heads up, but I would think it a little deeper too. Maybe they might have been responsible for it, because who really paid for when that building went down? A lot of innocent people in Iraq with what they told us were weapons of mass destruction. And did they find any weapons of mass destruction, y'all? How many mothers and children, listen, men died, but how many mothers and children who didn't have the pregnant women, abuelas lying in bed in hospices, were killed at the account of something happening in a so-called false flag event that took the lives of all these people in the Middle East? Who would have benefited from that, from them being decimated in the Middle East? I don't know. Only a frog could guess. Okay? I'm just saying. And if you ever listen to the testimony, if you get a chance, and if you were privy to getting some of that back footage, because I'm from New York, and you know, New Yorkers, we know a lot more. If you listen to the accounts of some of the firemen that are now dead because they were exposed to all that asbestos, a lot of them died from cancer. If you don't know, many of the families died. The men and the people who were first responders are dead from being exposed to all the chemicals of mass destruction in that building. I'm sorry to say. But if you listen to the old footage, do you remember what they said they heard? The first thing they said is, we have an explosion from the base of the building. But weren't the planes hitting from the top? Okay, let's go on. Don't want to linger on it. It's a froggy thing. My froggy mind just, just conspiracies is not true. I'm mentally ill. Don't worry about it. Don't listen to me. I'm just saying. So why would you trust a group of non-terrestrial Skeksis or Deros that have control of your money, though when you put it in, they ask no questions, but when you take it out, they do? Does that sound fair and balanced to you? I'm just saying. So I gotta go, y'all. I have Zoom tonight. So y'all, if you want to join me on Patreon, you can. I'm gonna join. We're gonna talk about where I am in this beautiful South American city. So some of you will find out where I am. The frog is located tonight. I am here in wintertime because remember, we're in flip mode. Remember flip mode? Oh, thank you, Divine Feminine Energy. That's our sea star over there. Del Marche, big up to Del Marche and Jamoji. Thank you, ladies. If you want to join us tonight, we'll be discussing where in the world is the frog Fleur in South America. And then also I'll be doing my series of traveling in South America to different safe zones for mothers and children. Gentlemen, you are always welcome, because I think it's a little safer for you, but it always helps because my perspective is a very unique perspective, just by my background, what I think and what I do. And also, the things that are the way we eat, because it's important to me to be living somewhere where fluoride isn't in the water, where there aren't any chemtrails, where the blood type matches my own, because the food will be more in alignment with my body. Also to see where the Deros live, because I always like to know the concentration of Deros, so that I wouldn't want to live next door to any Deros. I want to make sure that I'm somewhere in better proximity of the pole shift, where I should be existing in the pole shift when it happens, so that magnetically I'm balanced somewhere in a meridian, so that I have less of the influx of the weather wars and also some of the main apocalyptic type of movements of the magnetosphere. Also making sure that it's somewhere safe for women and children, meaning that the environment isn't hostile towards women. There's still a love of the matriarch, still a respect for the matriarch, where men still respect women, where they see us as someone who isn't their opposition, and is helpful in allowing us to exist. And also for sea stars who are looking for non-kukarachied up males, I will be looking for that, and also males that are matching our female disposition: lunar, Asian, brown, in between, green. Okay, because some of us still enjoy mating with the opposite sex. And there's nothing wrong if you enjoy mating with the same sex, but I'm coming from the perspective of enjoying having mating with males. So I can give you a very unique perspective on if the males are kukarachi'd up, if they're receptive to you as a female, if there is a nice pool of mating potentiality. You know, I'm still flirting, even though I'm clothed and I'm not showing my goodies of mass destruction. I am still very feminine. So I can give you that perspective as well. And again, once you join, I'll start the series starting this week, actually. You can just ask questions because we'll be doing lives on that channel, and you can ask questions and we can kind of get an idea if this is a place that you were thinking of being. Again, I'm in winter time, so I'm dressed up. It's a little chilly here, so it's a little cold. And that being said, I'm going to end this live. So if you enjoyed this video, please put a like on the video. I thank you, everyone. I know this was a gaslighting video. Just know it's a froggy day. Hopefully Willy Wonka leaves this video up. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I am a comedian, and I'm a frog, a trans frog. And you can join us again on Zoom. We'll be on Zoom in about 1 hour because I'm on the East Coast side. So thank you for everyone joining. I'm sorry I came out without giving an announcement. I never really do. I'm going to chill out tonight, and I will talk to my Zombies in a little bit. Thank you, everyone. Peace. Peace. I never know how to end this. Oh, here it goes.